Hi everyone, my name's Jaddy from MMA News UK, and today we're interviewing possibly the only man on this planet who I know who does more stuff in MMA than myself, and that is Chris Allen. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Hello, mate. How you doing? Thanks for having me on, mate. That was a
No,
lovely
it's a pleasure,
introduction.
mate. Really good to have you on. Start with Chris. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in MMA? All the
Oh
things you do
God,
in MMA,
yeah, I know.
how you got started, and
Yeah, mate. Well, I won't go. I'll just tell you what I'm doing at the moment. So I I'm a partner with my colleague Arber Baluju. He's from Germany. That's BA International Management. So we
yeah,
manage quite a few fighters between the two of us.
yeah,
I'll go into that a bit more in a bit. I'm now the promoter for ECMMA, which has been going for 7 years, 7 years,
yes, I've
which
heard
is
that.
which is
Done a
owned
while.
by a good pal of mine, Frank. Yeah, and he was nice enough to say, "Look, I want you to run my show for me," you know.
Yeah,
And yeah, that was good of him. So he looks after me really well. So I can only thank him so much. Um, so we got that. We got that. I was doing a podcast like yourself. I haven't done one for a long time, but it's something I want to do again for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. I attend lots of media shows. Like I've done backstage for Bellator. The media areas of Bellator, Cage Warriors, and also for the last couple of UFCs, which was
Yeah,
pretty cool as well.
yeah. You got told
Um,
to cut your hair, didn't you, by Molly McCann in the last one?
Molly McCann threatened to cut my man bun off. Then she told me to fuck off. I was like, all right. Do you know what I mean? And then
I remember
it's because
seeing
I was trying to start the banter between her and Paddy. That Everton Liverpool fans, aren't they? So I was
that.
starting that off again because I did that on the previous one and had them going. But she
Yeah,
was just like, yeah, man. But yeah, she's cool, man. She come and said hello to us all afterwards. So yeah, it was all fun and jokes.
yeah,
So we've got the management, the promotion. I also help out with Golden Ticket Fight promotion, which might seem weird to some people because I've already got my own promotion. Why would I help another one? You know what I mean? But I help
cool.
them with their matching as well. And also on the day, I help them run around, help them do bits and bobs, make sure everyone's, where they are. The reason I did that is because I was with them before I got handed ECMMA,
Yeah,
and they're a great show as well. Like I mean, I recommend it to anyone. If I can get to that level one day, I'll be happy. Do you
yeah.
know what I
Well,
mean?
the thing is
So
as
yeah,
well
mate.
with the shows, the more shows can work together, the better it's going to be for the talent coming up. Do you know what I
I,
mean?
I work with probably 90% of we all work together. Most of us. There's the odd couple who don't want it, which I understand. It's a business, I get that. But most of us work together, and just all you fighters know, we do have a blacklist between us as well for fighters who like to pull out last minute.
Yeah,
It is the unknown blacklist.
yeah.
So yeah,
I've heard that list before.
yeah,
Yeah,
mate. And what else am I doing? I don't even know anymore. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Everything MMA, man. You know what I mean? And just I get messages from a lot of different shows as well, asking me if I can find some pros for their shows. I use my own guys first, but if not, I'm happy to help them out.
yeah,
It's not a problem at all. Constantly trying to network as well. Getting their bigger organisations, different shows, different gyms mainly. To be honest with you,
yeah,
because then, as you know, at the moment the market for MMA is very very saturated at the moment in the UK.
yeah,
Since lockdown, everyone decided to do their own show. You know, so
yeah,
it's so saturated market. There's limited fighters out there. So there's so many shows with not enough fighters. If you see what I mean, So you'll have 10 fighters on one show and 10 fighters on another show. Yeah, they're
mm-hmm.
trying to match them 10 for their show, and you're trying to match your 10 for your show. But they'll never get matched together. So that's 20 fighters now that haven't had a fight.
Yeah, yeah,
This is the issue. That's the issue, mate, at the moment. And then everyone's having to step in last minute and do things like that. So
yeah,
that's why when I was going to do my own show, but that's why luckily Frank said to me, he says, "Look, run my show," and I'm not going to talk what I earn for anything like that, but he looks after me. Do you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah, and I run his show for him. He's the owner. I'm like his Dana White, as he calls it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like he sits in the background and it shows on fight day. He looks at me and just starts laughing, like, "Now you know what I had to deal with every
Yeah,
day." Do you know what I mean?
yeah. No, I've known Frank for a while now. He's a good guy, really good guy to know. So I can only imagine how much fun it is working with him.
Yeah, mate. He's Frank's cool, man. He's always that's what I like about Frank is he's straight with people as well. If you
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're if you're doing something wrong and you don't like it, he'll tell you.
yeah,
And if you're not if you're not and it's well he's the owner, isn't he? So he's all the ticket sales and stuff like that. So if you're not selling property, I wouldn't want
yeah,
to go up to him and tell him I ain't sold nothing. Put it
yeah,
that way.
yeah. He's worried about the money, and you're worried about putting a show together.
That's it. I'm for the so that's it. I'm the good cop. He says, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
but no, but when I run my shows, and I'm not saying Frank does. Frank does all this as well. He's run the show successfully for so many years. He's obviously
yeah,
doing something right. But we're really about the fighters, mate, as well. It's all about the fighters. It's not about earning a paycheck at the end. Obviously, the show can't be done for free. People understand that. I mean, the show has to be paid for, and we do have to sell tickets and stuff like that. And yeah, I'd love to be able to do it full time. Wouldn't we
mm,
all?
Of
But
course, yeah.
it's all about. I'm really big on quality of fights. If you speak to anyone who knows me, more or less most of the time, all my fights are 50-50 fights. I get loads of decisions all the time, which does
Yeah,
make the show run on for a while. But
yeah.
yeah, it's really important that you have the 50-50 fights because the fans will keep coming back to see that sort of thing. And also the fighters learn. They ain't going to learn nothing off someone who's going to fall over.
No, definitely not. I always used to say, like when I used to manage amateurs, I used to always say I would rather them have 10 amateur fights, lose every single one, but learn never to make that mistake again going into a pro. Then
Yeah.
someone that has literally had 10 fights, knocked them out in 30 seconds. You aren't going to learn nothing.
No.
And I'm actually going to do a show on that. Probably going to film it tomorrow, actually discussing, going on about that and how, you know.
Well, I've got an example. I won't name him, but his amateur record was like 2 wins and 7 losses. Yeah, but he fought the best people every single time. That's not always the best route. Okay, I'm not saying that's what people should do. I think you should be fair. You should fight people your same level and skill. Yeah, but in what he did, he fought like all these like champions of Cage Warriors, amateurs, and all this sort of stuff. And then he went pro, and he's 3-0 against legit people. You know what I mean?
I think you learn more by learning not to make mistakes again. Fighting people at your level, you know, they're going to push you, they're going to make you learn, you know, and it's nothing but a benefit. But so that's what I was going to talk about now. Like, obviously, there's been talk for years now about making all the amateur shows, all the amateur fights on regional shows, IMAF rules. So when they do compete in the IMAF championships, you know, they're used to fighting under that rule set, wearing the shin guards and stuff like that. They make them do. Do you think that's something we should push more in this country, or do you think everyone should just be able to do their amateur rules how they want it? Shin guards, no shin guards, or whatever they want?
I think amateur rules in the UK. Well, do you remember when we used to have semi-pro?
Yeah.
Like, not people remember semi-pro,
Yeah.
semi-pro MMA. Like amateur MMA was always shin pads, wasn't it? And then semi-pro, you took the shin pads off. I can't remember the exact rules with elbows. I don't know if you still couldn't use elbows in semi-pro, but anyway.
No,
but
I don't. No.
In my eyes, mate, I think the amateur rules in MMA. Yeah, well, me personally, I think it should use amateur MMA 16 and up is my age limit as well. From 16 upwards, right, you're fighting like an adult in my eyes. Do you know what I mean? Amateur rules, you know, with no knees and no elbows, stuff like that. Knees to the head, sorry. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if 2 fighters come to me, right, who are amateur MMA guys, right, and they said, look, we both want to wear shin guards, then do you know what? I've got to respect that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I will respect that, but it'll look a bit weird. But if that's what the fighters want, that's fine. But then does that fight get scored officially on like Tapology and things like that as an amateur fight? Because there is a unified set of amateur rules, and that doesn't state wearing shin guards. I'm pretty sure.
This is the thing with because the IMAF, they make away shin guards, don't they? You know, but I've spoken to so many fighters that are, not just in England, in Norway, Germany, places like that. So many fighters that are so good, but then they've gone to the IMAF championships and they said that has completely thrown them off.
And they wear t-shirts as well, don't they?
Yeah.
That must be different as well with the friction of the grappling and things like that.
Exactly, because
but
fights go, you get used to the sweat and stuff and making it slippery.
But IMAF, you know, to be fair to them, though, they're putting on a very well-watched competition, you know, and it's got to be known as safety to fighters, and it's meant to be competing, not hurting each other. Yeah. Do you know, I know that you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but so yeah, if it's a big, massive organisation like that, and they want to keep people protected, you know, because lots of people are watching, and they're known in the eyes of people, you know, still amateurs, different to what we know amateurs.
Yeah.
And then yeah, fair enough. It looks good for them. It looks better if they put shin pads on in IMAF, I think.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I think that obviously more regional shows should try and accommodate them rules to make the fights easier for the people who are going into it, because there's such a good, like, look at Mohammed Molikov, you know, look what he done. You know, no one could touch him. He had all the amateur fight, and he won every competition he went to in IMAF.
He had like 20, didn't he? Amateur fights, didn't he? Something like that.
Yeah, and he pretty much fought the same guy in the finals every time, but the guy just couldn't beat him. You know, and I want more success stories like that from this country. So if people are competing more to them rule sets, it's going to make them benefit from it more, I think.
Well, I think every amateur should be going to the IMAFs at least once in their amateur career. I think it's important. You know what I mean? I think, and you see a lot of fighters do all the IMAF competitions. Then when they win them, they go pro. I've noticed that happens a lot as well.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of amateurs step up to the pro ranks, which is interesting because they're using shin pads, like you said. That could lead to a whole other argument going to pro after wearing shin pads. But they're not, unless you've done IMAF the whole time. Yeah, it's not really going to make a difference, I don't think. But I'm not a fighter, so I wouldn't know. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, but it's interesting to like hear other people's takes on it because I spoke to I'm not going to say who it is, but someone who runs a very big show, and he told me outright, no, not a chance in hell would he do it. Doesn't care what nothing. He's nothing to do with IMF, so he ain't have nothing to do with their rules. And I was like, oh, blimey, fair enough. You know, it was
Might as well just make elbows legal again. Why not?
Yeah. And what's the other thing? Heel hooks. They banned them as well, didn't they?
Yeah, heel hooks, and also like this. I was listening in. It's also sorts of things like when you pull a guillotine, you can't twist it. You can only pull back on it. So you can't yank you wrench your body around at an angle.
Yeah, there's no cranks or nothing like that.
Yeah, but that's just to protect them as well, man. You know what I mean? You're only amateur. You don't want to blooming paralyze yourself.
The thing is, as well, especially at that level, you know, some people do it just as a hobby, but they want to see how far they can go. You know, you don't want them to end up with a life-changing injury for having a bit of fun.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, man. And those guys do look like they have fun in there. Well, if they're winning, they do anyway.
Have you ever been to one? Have you ever been to one? Have you ever been to one with IMAFs?
No.
No. I've been to a couple of them, man. You should go.
No, I know a lot of people, like the guy who runs Golden Ticket Fight Promotion. He was the coach for Team England, Dan Cassell.
Yeah.
Good. He's the owner of Golden Ticket Fight Promotion, man. I've worked with him for a long time. He was actually the first person I ever interviewed backstage at a live event, which is interesting. So yeah, man, it's funny how things turn out. But yeah, so and also it's Paul Kelly as well. And Molly was also the other manager as well. So I know a lot of people involved in it. I watched it. Do you know what I mean? But
definitely go. It's good fun.
Yeah, but where was this last one though?
Bahrain, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't quite make that flight.
No.
That's a long way.
Yeah,
if they do something in England though, I'd be interested in going down.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely look at doing it. I think they're doing one in Rome soon.
Yeah.
Because one of my friends, he's the head coach of the Italian team, Fabio, and I'm sure he told me there's one in Rome sooner or later.
Fair enough.
I'll have to look it up because if you can't do an hour and a half flight to Rome, then you're never going to get on a plane.
No, do you know what I mean? Rome's it's not as bad as Bahrain. There's a long way.
No. Okay. Do you want to? Obviously, you were saying earlier you go into a bit more about your matchmaking and your management and stuff like that. You want to tell us a bit more about that?
Well, I'll go to my management first. I've been with my colleague for a couple of years now. I reckon we've signed at least, between us, we've got at least 40 fighters on our lists. Between us, that is. You know what I mean? He has the heart. We have a load. I look after the UK and some of Europe as well, and he looks after all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we've from pretty much nothing, you know, up till now, you know, we've come a long way. It's actually quite surprising when I actually think about it again. Like within 2 years, we managed to get a guy on the Dana White Contender Series.
Oh, really? That's brilliant.
Yeah, which to us was massive, you know, and also to our fighter as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, we've got contacts with, like, we've got fighters in Brave, we've got fighters in KSW, we've got fighters in Glory. We have some kickboxing guys as well. Aries FC, the list goes on, man. You know, all the big shows around you, and Cage Warriors. I really want to break into Bellator. Actually, never actually got into Bellator yet. I'm not too sure. Yeah.
What's his name? He's around Bama.
What, Juice?
Yeah.
Juice up. Yeah. And so yeah, mate, we picked up on some of the best British fighters I've picked up. Just to name a couple, we've got Mohammed Shazli, fights out of Team Renegade. He's 5-0 now. He's going to be something else. Let me tell you, look out for that name. He had the first ever calf slicer in UK MMA.
Yeah.
And I mean, he should be fighting on the potentially on the next Cage Warriors show. Do you know what I mean? So that'd be good.
Yeah.
Our other fighter is Thomas Paul. He's a deaf guy. You might have heard of him before. Yeah, actually, today he was posting how he was Paddy Pimblett actually messaged him directly because he said no one wanted to spar with him. He says, "Do you want to be my sparring partner?" And Thomas Paul's off. I'll get in there with you. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man. So that was pretty cool, to be fair, to know he's been working with Paddy Pimblett and stuff. But yeah, so we picked him up. He was about 6-2 at the time. He's now 11-12, 11-3, I think he is now, 11-4. But so yeah, he went through a few regional fights. We sent him to Golden Ticket Fight Promotion. He became the double champ there, 2 weight classes.
Oh, nice.
So they do they do in between weight classes there. So they do a
Yeah.
74 kg title, they do a 70 kg title, and December 3rd he's fighting for the 66 kg title.
Oh, nice. So,
So yeah,
champ. Yeah.
yeah, man. So he's looking to be the triple champ, as they say. Do you know what I mean? And he's already their double champ. And then when he won his second belt, we got in touch with Sean Shelby from the UFC and Mick Maynard. And yeah, they offered him a fight for the Dana White Contender Series, you know, and we accepted it before even looking at the opponent, you know.
Yeah.
When the UFC call, you don't turn it down.
No.
So at the time, Thomas was in Sweden at what's the gym in Sweden? All Stars, isn't it?
Yeah,
All Stars, yeah. He was training up there because he had a fight coming up again at Golden Ticket to defend his title. So he didn't know we were coming. So we flew over there with Sky Documentaries because Sky Documentaries are doing a documentary, funnily enough, doing a documentary on him and his team, following them all around, which comes out next year. I'm not advertising for them though. So they said to me and my German colleague, my partner in the management, he says, look, let's fly over to Sweden. Yeah, you don't know you're coming with Steve Cook, who's the head coach of Team Underground, best coach out there. Yeah, flew out there. And Thomas had no idea we were coming. And so his mate who was training with him brought him to the park. Like, what the you lot doing here? Do you know what I mean? He couldn't quite believe it. And then we told him there and then, mate, he's going to the UFC, Dana White Contender Series. And do you know what? After everything I've done, to see that geezer's face and we told him that, you know, made it all worthwhile. Yeah, man. And that's the path we want to take with our fighters. You know, we want to get them to that level. And with Thomas, it just shows you that no disability, nothing can stop you doing what you want to do. Look at the geezer. I always forget his name. The one-armed fighter in Bellator.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. I completely forgot his name.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
But yeah, it just shows you, mate. It doesn't matter what disabilities you may have. You know, Thomas is he's done really well. You know, remember he can't hear his corner. He can't hear when there's 10 seconds left. No. You know, things like that. You know, but then does he have the advantage because he's got no distractions as well? So
yeah, could be.
That guy, mate, that guy just wants to fight everyone, you know.
It's nice that you're keeping him busy as well. Do you know what I mean? When you said you first got him, he was 6-2, and now he's 11-3. So you keep him busy.
We could have stuck him in the big league straight away and earned loads of money. Like I'm not going to name any, but some management want to do to their people, and we're not in it for the. We obviously want to make money out of it because we want to do a management company, but it's all about the long term for us. There's no point just making a couple of money and sending them off somewhere where they're not ready for, and they get weighed in 2 fights. So we build them up properly, not against Journeyman. We build them up against, you know, decently ranked opponents. And then his last 2 fights before he went to the UFC, high level, Mario Said and Perry Goodwin. You know what I mean, mate? And those 2 are definitely not easy fights.
No, they're not. No.
Let me tell you. And yeah, it's all about building the fighters, not just trying to earn a quick buck. In my eyes,
it's as well. If you build them up properly, you know, and you get to that level, the possibilities are endless.
Very, very important. And I deal a lot with Brad Pickett as well in his team at GB Top Team, and he gives me a lot of advice as well because I manage a couple of his guys.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, you need to get this sort of fight for them and then build it from here and this and this and this and this. And some people might think it's awkward, but it's not. It's clever. It's intelligent. It's the way you need to be looking at things, you know?
Yeah.
Because if Dana White won't take you in if you've got 7 losses on your record.
No.
Nowhere near, mate. If you're 6 or 7 losses on your record, you ain't getting to the UFC. Unless you have like 30 fights.
I don't think it's there now, but there used to be a rule. If you lost 3 fights in a row, they won't have you. Period. Even if you had 100 wins after that. But if you had 3 losses in a row, they wouldn't take you.
Nah. But yeah, but you can go into look what Dana White's done with some, like, how long did he let Frankie Edgar and BJ Penn fight for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But you know what though? If you come and fight and you bring it, then why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I like about it.
Like, because to be honest with you, BJ Penn's one of my favourite fighters of all time. He's absolutely unbelievable. You know, he fought Lyoto Machida, didn't he?
Sure, yeah, man. I think no. Lyoto's massive. Lyoto's like.
I'm pretty sure he did fight him. Yeah.
That's my memory then.
Yeah, guys, shit after that. I'm pretty sure he did. If I'm wrong, I do apologise to everyone, and you can say me what you want in the comments, but I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he did, and I think he done pretty well. But watching him in his last few fights, it was heartbreaking. Same with Frankie Edgar the other day, you know, with that knee. Absolutely
brutal, isn't it? Daniel Cormier said it the best, mate. We keep seeing our legends going out on their back. When Chuck Liddell got knocked out for like that 2nd or 3rd time, I nearly stopped watching the UFC. Devastated me. You know what I mean?
The thing is, though, it must be hard for Danny, you know, because he's got their best interest at heart, and if he tries to say to them, look, come on, it's time, and they say, no, I want to keep fighting, what can he do? You know, he's not their dad.
if they're getting medically cleared. Do you know what I mean?
Get medically cleared, and you know, to be fair, I'm a little bit dubious about their medicals now. After Mike Bisping said he was managed to scam it with his eye, with his coach standing behind him, the 2 fingers and stuff. You know, so they might want to have a little review of their medical team after that. But yeah, no, it's pretty good.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that was the management thing, man. That was it. Obviously, I've got loads of other fighters I haven't named. You know, do you know what I mean? Which are really coming through. Bane Dundervan, Noah Mannion. There's loads more names off the top of my head, yeah. And I'll tell you what, these guys might only be, some are like 5-4, some are 5-0. I've got some 1-0s, some 1-1s. But I tell you what, mate, this new breed of MMA fighters coming through, mate. I'm telling you, yeah. I'm telling you, these guys obviously got to learn MMA as a whole from day one. Didn't have to go to 12 different gyms to learn 12 different disciplines. You know what I mean? So, when I look at some of these amateurs, mate, I think you could hang with some pros I know. Do you know what I mean?
Unbelievable. Like, go back to when I was fighting. I wouldn't go anywhere near some of these guys now.
Last week we had 2 debut guys, amateur debut guys. Yeah, they're only young, right? They've obviously been training about a year. They've got no other background, right? Yeah. These 2 are rolling on the floor. I've never seen something so technical in my life at amateur level. It was mostly a ground game, but they were just reversing this, then taking this, trying to go for this submission, reversing that submission, transitioning to another one. I'm like, what the hell am I watching? Do you know what I mean? And I was really impressed. Obviously, if they were pro, they probably would have nailed some of those submissions if they'd been trained longer. But I mean, I'm telling you, it's impressive, mate. The amateur scene these youngsters, mate. These youngsters are scary, mate.
It's amazing to see how well the sport's grown over the last 10 years.
And I've only been matchmaking for 5 years, and I've seen that level change massively.
Yeah.
Matchmaking for 3 years. Sorry, mate, not 5 years. I started doing all my MMA stuff 5 years ago.
Yeah. Best 5 years of your life, I bet.
Tell you what, mate, it all started off with just a little Facebook page, mate. Yeah, called the UFC Bible, which got shut down the end for copyright. There's loads of pages of UFC in them, but anyway, whatever. Yeah, that's where it all started from, mate. To be honest with you, just started a little Facebook page up. Then I started up Chris Allen MMA. Very, very I thought about that, didn't I? And eventually I got up to like just over 11,000 followers. I was like, here we go. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't expect that. And I got invited onto a podcast called the Martial Arts Chat Podcast, run by John McIlroy. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, man. But yeah, mate, he invited me onto like these things called roundtables, and you get all these different podcasters from all around like America, England, whatever. We'd all join one group. We'd have a chat about the fights coming up and predictions, and do like New Year's Eve specials where everyone's just hammered, mate. You know what I mean? But really, and that, and then so after that, I thought I really enjoyed that. You know what I mean? I thought I'd be a lot more nervous on the camera. Or not a camera, but on podcasts and things like that. I thought, no, I enjoyed that. And then from there, I thought, you know, I want to start writing about it as well. So I went to a company called MyMMAnews.com. They're based in California.
Yeah.
The owner's called Eric Cowell. Big shout out to him, man. He helped me out massively. So I was writing articles for him, which he pays you for as well.
Yeah.
And he was getting me all my press passes for Bellator and Cage Warriors in the UK as well. Always getting approved, no issues. If there was an issue, it was sorted out, blah, blah, blah. Mate, I couldn't ask for anything more from him. Do you know what I mean? But big shout out to him. I got to meet some great people, do some really good interviews, and massive great experience. Well, when you're sitting that close, mate, it's great. Do you know what I mean? And basically from then, sorry if I'm boring you.
I love it. Sitting here all listening, I love it.
So after doing all the writing stuff and that with him, obviously carried on doing that, covering some local shows. Actually, enjoyed covering the regional shows, mate. Do you know what I mean? Because no one else was there. It was just me. It was great. Chatting to people back. That's how actually I met Frank at East MMA, because I did one at his show, and then obviously you see what happened.
I remember seeing when you done it at the front, didn't you, talking about you being there and stuff. I remember.
Yeah. And then I was doing interviews with all the fighters afterwards, man. Yeah, I used to love all that stuff, mate. Yeah. And started doing a bit more of that, a bit of writing. And then I started working with John on that Martial Arts Chat podcast. Like, so he said, come join me. So that's when I started interviewing people, like I said to you, like Ken Shamrock, Gillian Robertson, people like that. It was amazing, man. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? To talk to Ken Shamrock was like, I was just shaking the whole time, mate. I was like, mate, this geezer, mate. He's like, I remember watching him beating people up in Pancras, mate, then putting ankle locks in WWF.
You know what? Thinking, I literally, as you're saying that, I'm thinking back to my childhood, sitting there watching him on WWE.
Yeah, mate. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, so I've watched you, like, obviously Pancras I watched later when I was older, because I was quite young. But I thought, cool, mate. So I've watched you do this in wrestling, and now I'm watching you beat people up for real. I'm like, mate, you're a legend, man. Do you know what I mean?
I remember having a little figure of him playing it in a little wrestling ring, playing it on the games. Absolutely awesome. Ken Shamrock's a big hero of mine.
He was a man, mate.
I don't know how he done it because I'd have been. I think
Yeah.
if I'd have had him in front of me. Yeah.
It was interesting. It was interesting, yeah. I started to listen to it back, and I can hear myself go, like, because it's more, I'm in awe. I'm just listening, and there's a silence, and I'm like, wow, Ken Shamrock's just told me about his life.
Yeah.
But no, that's pretty cool. So yeah, then after that, I met a company called the MMA Power Hour, who are based in California. They do loads of great. I mean, they get proper high level. Like they get all UFC fighters and stuff like that all the time, man. Do you know what I mean? It's great. And they wanted me and John, the owner of this martial arts chat podcast, to do like a segment before the show started for an update on UK and UFC news. Do you know what I mean? So we did a little segment like for 8 or 9 minutes before the main show started, which you thought was like, why not? Pretty cool. And then time went on, just been matchmaking a lot. Do you know what I mean? Matchmaking for ECMMA, and starting up the management company, and well, not starting up, but joining him and building the management, getting all the people in, networking, stuff like that. And then that all of a sudden, I'm bloody getting fighters potentially getting to the UFC, going to Dana White Contender Series, fighters on Cage Warriors, fighters on Brave, and I've got. And I'll be getting media passes for UFC, which I have to shout out MMA Power Hour again for. Unfortunately, the other guys couldn't get me one, but MMA Power Hour were able to get me passes for UFC credentials. So shout out to them, man. So then UFC credential came in, which was a big thing for me, man, to be fair. Like, I was like, I'm sitting here with like BT Sport and Sky Sport, and not BT Sky Sports, and like the Sun and the Daily Mail, and I'm thinking, this is mental, man. And they've got all these massive cameras that look amazing. There's me and my little phone, like, yeah, check me out.
You know what, mate? If you're there, you deserve to be there.
I was just there for the food, mate. The food's amazing.
Don't matter what camera you got.
The spread they put on at the back, mate. You get fed twice. Yeah, twice. Yeah, you go to the back, mate. They got like fresh Hunter's chicken. They've got lasagnas, bolognese. They've got everything. Oh, mate, and it's proper fresh as well. And then you open their fridge up, it's just full of drinks, And then you go to another table, it's full of biscuits and cakes and all this stuff. I'm thinking, I'm just going to stay at the back.
Yeah. That's what I do.
I'll tell you what, they look after you, man. They do look after. That's mental. I never experienced that. And yeah, now I'm going to promote the show. Got fighters really coming through at the moment. So I'm really excited about that. And I've had to cut a lot of it down, mate. To be fair, as I was saying, I'm not doing the podcast for a long time. Not been writing for a long time because matchmaking, running a show. Because when I run the show, I'm matchmaking. I'm doing everything pretty much. Like Frank does a lot as well. But yeah, mate, it gets serious. And then also I work a day job still, and I do I'm door to doors 12 hours, and I've got a 2-year-old, I've got a mortgage and everything, got my wife and everything here, so getting everything done in those last 5 or 6 hours when you get home, as well as want to spend some time with your family as well, mate. But you know what? She's cool about it, man. She understands. Like if you want to succeed at something in your dream and it's your side hustle, you have to work 100% on that side hustle, man. And if you don't, nothing will happen. You'll just be stuck in the same thing you do every single day. Do you know what I mean? Which is fine for some people, but to me, there's got to be more to life than going to work for 11 hours a day.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, look at me and you. All right, okay, you probably ain't going to come out at this time, but me and you are sitting here 7 p.m. on a Sunday evening. Do you know what I mean? And not many people.
First time we stopped.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Just keep cracking through.
I'm not looking for a small violin or anything, by the way. It is what it is. I'm not looking for sympathy. I just thought, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I know you manage a lot of fighters, but who are you most excited to see? Like maybe someone just starting or someone you've done for a while. Who are you most excited to see what you can do with their career?
That's like asking me who my favourite kid is.
I know. Well, you can name a couple if you want, but so no one feels left out.
Well, I'll talk about my higher ranked guys, do you know what I mean, at the moment. You know what I mean? Because obviously the other guys are still going, they're building, do you know what I mean? Stuff that obviously I spoke about Thomas Paul. So let's he's my, I won't talk about him because I spent a lot of time talking about him, even though he's the man. So I've got Mohammed Shazzy, I've taken up from Team Renegade. You know, he's doing stuff with Leon Edwards and all them boys down there, you know, training. His jiu-jitsu's high level, man. First ever castle arch in the UK, like I was saying at Golden Ticket, he did that. And the boy just works, mate. He just doesn't stop training, mate. He's on it. He's so focused, mate. Honestly, I've never seen someone so focused on anything in my life. Do you know what I mean? And he's a very underrated fighter. He doesn't get enough notice at all. So yeah, watch out for him, man.
Well,
Another
hopefully,
guy.
a few people looking up for him now after we're doing this. So.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, well, they all know about him. They all know about him, but he gets declined a lot as well, mate. People don't want to fight him.
Yeah, I can
But a
imagine.
lot of people, but there is a lot of people that do want to fight him. There is a lot of people that do want to fight him as well. So I can't say that because I know there's people who've asked to fight him. So,
Yeah,
but you got to be again, you got to be sensible in certain things. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Another one I've signed is Bane Dundervan.
yeah.
He's from GB Top Team with Brad Pickett.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's 5-4 at the moment. But records, as I say, for DJs, mate, he's as good. He's good at better than what his record says. He's lost to decent people, but I
Yeah,
tell you what, mate, he's again another refocused bloke. He's the way he's coming through. Like does classes at GB Top Team. He corners a lot of people, so he's got that experience as well. He's a very mature fighter. Do you know what I mean? He's a very mature fighter. He's very I'm trying to find the right word to use. He's just dedicated, man. I know that everyone's dedicated. They all say that, yeah. But honestly, when he's got a missus. Him and his missus just had just had a kid, and he's still
yeah,
with that gym mate. Like a week later, doing classes and this and this and this and
yeah.
this and this. And yeah, man. And just the name, and yeah, and one more I'll name is I'd say, man, I'm gonna get backlash on this. You know that. You know that. I love them all, but you ask me like, and one of my guys who says just starting out, sort of
Yeah.
thing, is Noah Mannion. He fights at a New Wave Academy, 1-1. Yeah. Unfortunately, lost his last fight. One of those things, mate. Went for the takedowns. The geezer threw a knee or a head kick. I'm not sure what it was, and
Does happen. Does
he was
happen.
doing well before that. But it happens, man. Do you know what I mean?
Give a big shout out to New Wave Academy as well. Colin, amazing team.
Yeah, mate. Him and Christian Navaldi and all them guys.
Amazing coach. Absolutely amazing. They've got some other great coaches there as well, but Colin's a man, definitely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. They got high levels coming out of that place. Let me tell you. There's a couple fighting on Golden Ticket coming up soon as well.
Yeah.
And I've said at Golden Ticket, there's no easy fights there. Let me tell you. You're fighting people who train with Dan Hardy's gym and all them lot, mate. You know what I mean? It's serious. Yeah.
That's the thing that people don't realise. It ain't like it used to be. There ain't really no easy fights out there now. If you're competing to make something of your career, there is no easy fights. Okay, there is shows you can go and fight, and they'll give you some. If you sell 200 tickets, they'll give you someone that'll fall over. But if you're actually taking this sport seriously and you want to make something of it, there is no easy fights.
I see a 1-0. No, a 0-1 beat a 4-1 record. Yeah. I mean, they beat him. I was like, wow. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter, mate.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, really is, mate. So yeah, watch out for Mo Shazley and obviously Thomas Paul, mate. Don't forget that name. I'm telling you now, that name's coming. And Noah Mannion, Bane Dundervan, Craig Rawlins, I'm going to shout as well. Emmanuel Menezes, shout him out as well. Fabrizio Callio. I'm just trying to name my UK ones now, but I can't remember anymore. Ben Davis, Rob Cunningham. He's actually fighting in BKFC in Newcastle coming up soon. So good luck to him. Reese Jones. I can't remember anymore.
So, yeah. With Ben Huckle as well, yeah.
He wanted to take that route. So I let him. I'll not let him, but go ahead, man. Do you know what I mean?
Remind me after this. I've got something to talk to you about that. We'll talk about after this. But I'll tell you what, I'll make it easier for this time then. If go out your management company and fighters in the UK, obviously you see a lot of them. Who do you think is going to be the next one that hits the big time in the UFC?
What, pro guys in the UK?
Yeah. Outside your management company, so you ain't got to pick a favourite. Someone who's outside your management company.
Thomas Paul's definitely the next person going to the UFC. Well, a lot of them have gone, mate. Like I would have said Ryan Parkin, the heavyweight at Nick Fisher gym. He's gone. Andrew Fisher, sorry. He's gone to the UFC already. They're all getting lapped up, mate, on the Contender Series at the moment, aren't they?
Oh God, yeah. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for the sport.
Do you know what I'd like to see go over there, mate? Is there's loads, like we had Cage Warriors like Hughes and them not fighting the other night. Those two could easily go to the UFC. I'd like to see get a few title defenses. You know, Sam Creasy.
Yeah.
I'd like to see someone him go to the featherweight division and mix it up a little bit, mate. I'd like to see him go over there. I think he'll go there next. One of the next people to go. There's too many, man. Because there's too many good organisations around here, mate. Do you know what I mean? They're not just coming from Cage Warriors. You don't have to go through Cage Warriors to get to the UFC. And I know you're going to ask me that.
It is the easiest route, but there is, it's not the only option.
No, but they're a great show, man. I can't put them down for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't. The answer to that one is I can't really pick anyone because there's too many. There's loads of people that are ready to go, and I'll forget. Even though he beat my fighter Thomas Paul, I'm not going to be sour. Joe Cummins,
Yeah.
Silk Cummings, he's a great fighter, mate. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, really, really good. I could see him easily going to the UFC soon as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I have no idea. There's too many. There's far
It's
too
so
many.
good, though, isn't it? That's the answer I want to hear, because there's so many good fighters in this country going to the UFC now. You know, you go back 10 years, Michael Bisping was the only one. Do you know what I mean?
Him and Ross Pearson. And
Yeah.
no, don't forget a good pal of mine who used to do high cages of Ross Poynton as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ross Poynton cage high, man. That's what you want to go to.
Yeah. So obviously going back to the regional shows, what do you think it is that Cage Warriors do that's different to everyone else that makes them the easiest path to the UFC? Do you think it's just the connections that Graham and Ian have got, or?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got massive ties to the UFC.
Yeah.
I think there's. Anyway, I don't want to go into it because I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah, but yeah, I think they potentially make something out of people going from Cage Warriors to the UFC as well. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, and I think the UFC have really found them as one of their feeder companies to go. If you're good enough for Cage Warriors, good enough to come here. And do you know what? Why not? Look how many champions they've had there. Look who's fought at Cage Warriors. The list goes on. You can start from McGregor to Bisping to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Do you know what I mean?
I was about to say Joanna. Yeah, she was.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? There's plenty of them, mate, who've come through Cage Warriors. So
Arnold Allen.
Arnold, yeah, mate. The list goes on. It goes on and on. I think they've had something like, is it like over 50 fighters from Cage Warriors go to UFC?
It's about 90.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And
I'd love to be the one who's number 100.
yeah.
Yeah,
mate, you can't fault them for that. But there is other ways. We sent Thomas Paul to Dana White Contender Series through Golden Ticket Fight Promotion. He's been known to buy the pay-per-view for Golden Ticket Fight Promotion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And we have there are people there in the audience like help with some of the refereeing, not actually refereeing, but Mark Goddard's been there. Do you know what I mean? And all them lot, you know, you get all the big, you get like Leon comes down because obviously it's local, it's up in Wolverhampton way. You get Andre, I forgot his name, Vaughan. I forgot his first name. Andre, I forgot his name. Anyway, yeah, all these like celebrities in the MMA world coming down, mate. There, you know, because it is that sort of level of show, I say. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why Sean Shelby's attracted to it, because a lot of these fighters who fight in the UFC are telling him, you know, you need to keep an eye on the show. There's some great fighters coming through.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has been confirmed that he has watched some of he has seen, if not all, of the pay-per-views with the shows.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. What do you think a lot about Jack Shore? You know, obviously done absolutely amazing things in Cage Warriors, and he's done well. He done start off with his UFC career. He's racked up a lot of wins. I know he lost his last fight, but I've heard a few people write him off, and I think it's so stupid. I really do. I really think Jack Shore is going to do massive things in UFC.
Yeah, mate, I agree. Definitely, man. Jack Shore's great, especially in the UK world. Do you know what I mean? Just because you lose one,
writing him off.
Everyone's going to lose. Everyone's going to lose one eventually. Well, not unless you're Khabib or someone, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? And if anything, it might probably make it better.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
It kick up the arse, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Maybe just got a little bit. I don't know. Just got a little bit tied up in the moment and just went with the flow. And
I was gutted for what's his name, the Welsh guy, Mason.
Mason Jones. Oh,
I felt for him, man, because his fights were great. He proper went at it in his fights as well.
I know. I couldn't believe it. I honestly thought he was going to go steamrolling through that division. I really did. The power that boy's got is unbelievable. He's so fast as well. He's just like a lion, just steams. Yeah. But when he went UFC, I don't know what's happened. But again, you know, hopefully, touch wood, he'll regroup and get it all sorted. And
yeah, well, I interviewed him once. He's a lovely bloke, mate. I was gutted for him. Same with Modestas Bukalkas as well. I was gutted for him as well because he's a really nice guy and all. He won his first one. I think he lost his two after that. But he's fighting in Cage Warriors again for the belt, or he's back in Cage Warriors anyway. So yeah, he'll get back.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Okay, well, thanks again for coming on, Chris. Really appreciate you spending the time, and hope everyone enjoys the interview. And maybe we'll have you back on again soon. Yeah, nice, mate. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on, man. Really appreciate it, man. No problem. And sorry if I'm blabbing on or slurring. I'm just tired, man. I love it, mate. Actually, I absolutely loved interviewing you, mate. No worries, man. Appreciate it, man. Anytime. No worries. Take care, buddy. Thank you, man. Bye-bye. See you, mate. Bye.